4, 3, 2.
In this segment, we're going to talk about a few resources that you can use if you want to learn more about NLP and these other topics. So I've really enjoyed getting the opportunity to share what's going on with NLP and with language models with you. And if you're interested in learning more, there's some different courses that you can take, most likely if you end up going to college. So for example, programming and software engineering can help you learn a little bit more about how to actually build these systems, but these aren't as important as you might think. A lot of the coding for these things doesn't rely on necessarily building very large kind of enterprise software systems, but instead it's more about the kind of underlying mathematical ideas. And so these will be covered in courses that are usually billed as either machine learning or data science, or of course if there's specific natural language processing courses. But both machine learning and data science courses will cover some of the math and the statistics, but also how to implement these models. And in terms of the math, we've talked about some of the concepts that you need here. And in particular, we've seen that ideas from probability are useful, and also calculus I've mentioned as something for understanding how neural networks get learned. But I also want to emphasize that you don't need necessarily a deep understanding of these areas of math. You could do a lot even if you just know a few basic principles, and a lot of that stuff you can learn just by maybe reading some tutorials. So let me give you some pointers to some resources you might use. So there's a tutorial on sentiment analysis that I've included a link for here that I think is really great. It shows you how to do this in Python using some existing toolkits, and it has code examples that you can walk through. So you can copy paste what they show you there and actually run it on your local system, and it should show you how to build a system that can classify movie reviews as either positive or negative, an example that we saw a little while ago. There's also a Coursera course due to Andrew Ng. Now this is aimed at folks who probably have a college education or are partway through college, so it's a little bit advanced, but this is something that we see a lot of students at UT take who maybe haven't had a chance to take machine learning yet, and it's a great preparation for doing more work, learning more stuff about this area. It's a really good first course in this stuff. So I encourage you to check that out. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken it. It's extremely well run. So if you just want to kind of look at a little bit more, especially about the models and neural networks that we've talked about, here are a couple of blogs due to Chris Olah and Jay Alamar. And in particular, the Jay Alamar blog has a post called The Illustrated Transformer, which will talk about these transformer models, walk you through all the steps of exactly what goes on there with some very, very nice pictures. It does rely on knowing things like how matrices and vectors work and multiplication, so there's a few extra kind of math ideas that you might need there to understand it. But the pictures, I think, are very good at illustrating some of that stuff as well. And then finally, here are links to some of the big language models from companies that you can take a look at. These are the kind of press releases about this stuff that explain what goes into this technology here. So these are some pointers to resources that can help you learn more about these things. And hopefully I've been able to share with you some of the interesting stuff going on in NLP, and you feel like you've learned something valuable here. So I've appreciated your attention. Thank you so much, and goodbye.